Hello and welcome back to Yachtbuyer 360. Today we are going to go on board the Absolute Navetta 53, which was launched at Cannes, the Cannes Boat Show in 2024, and we are catching up with it here at Düsseldorf in January 2025. And this is a Yachtbuyer 360 review, which means as I guide you through the boat, you can grab the screen with a mouse, or you can use your tablet, your finger, or tilt it to turn the view and look at whatever you want to look at around a 360 orientation. So you can have a look around yourself as we go through the boat. So the Navetta 53, part of Absolute Navetta series. I'm going to start off in the cockpit. And back here you find what Absolute's been doing for quite a while now, which is modular furniture. So this all slides around, you can rearrange this, it's only held in place with friction, so you can move these seats into whatever direction you want. So you've got a coffee table in the middle there, and what's nice is you can look into the boat, you can look out of the boat, and it's really easy to move this area around. Very, very flexible indeed. Over here you've got access to a couple of cup holders. There's also the Fusion stereo system, so you can control the music from back here, and I believe there's also the option to have an IPS joystick back here as well as the ones that you've got on the Flybridge and inside the saloon. Obviously you've got good coverage overhead here, nice overhang, and nice you've got the lights built in. And underneath this area is the crew cabin, and we're going to have a look at that at the end of this tour. Before we head inside, I think let's stay on deck and go up to the foredeck. These are nicely protected pretty much all the way forward. You see you've got lights overhead as well. You've got some lighting down here as you move forward along the side deck. These are very open, these sides, but you've got a nice high guardrail. This is hanging up to above my waist, so you feel really good and secure as you move down here. And you'll see we've got a side door as well, which connects into the saloon. We'll talk more about how well that works from the inside. And then you're up to the foredeck. Note here, fender storage, open fender storage, that's great. You can just sling them away, you don't have to lift up lids or anything like that. You can stow those away nice and quickly. And Absolute are doing really good stuff on their foredecks. Even on these smaller models, there's loads going on here. So you've got your bench, you've got the table that opens up, a two-way backrest here, so this can face into the boat as it is now, or it'll flip the other way, and you can make it into an extended sun pad. Really high quality mouldings, teak all the way through. It looks really smart up here with nice deep cup holders that are deep enough for you to be able to use them as phone holders, for example. Right forward you have the windlass and anchor, not inside the locker, but you have got a chain locker down here. You've also got the control for the windlass and the manual winch. And then if we look aft, you can just take in the windscreen, and we've got a Flybridge as well, which we're going to go up to in a moment. Let's head down the port side, symmetrical deck, so exactly the same moving down this side. Obviously no side door, but a nice safe boat to move around, and you really do feel the benefit of this coverage. You do feel well protected as you move around the side decks with these overhangs on either side. Okay, let's go up to the Flybridge before we go to the saloon. Actually, scrap that, there are people up there, so I'm going to carry on and head to the saloon. We'll come back to the Flybridge. Right, inside, galley aft arrangement, typical Absolute. They do this on the majority of their models. Works well because you can slide the doors across one further, so it does connect well to the cockpit. And there's space here for domestic size fridge freezer at the top, and the fridge at the bottom. And they catch shut really strongly, so when you're at sea there's no danger of those pinging open. Induction cooking there, oven underneath the counter, and a nice big sink with a pop-up tap, which always looks quite smart. And then opposite, the switch panel is very close to the cockpit, so you can get to that quickly if you're outside the interior. And then we've got some storage down here. Nice big deep storage for, I guess, pots and pans, because there isn't really space for that in the galley, but they've really used this space quite wisely. And that means amidships, up a couple of steps, you've got your dining space and a sofa opposite, behind which is the pop-up television. So that just comes up from here. Doesn't know that the switch is activated at the moment, but you all know what a television looks like, and it pops away down to there when you're not using it. And this is on a pedestal as well, this table, so you can drop this down and I suspect create another berth or make a daybed, so if you're watching a film on the TV you can lie and recline and be a bit more comfortable. Look back at the saloon. Moving on to the lower helm, I do like an Absolute helm. They do them really nicely. I'll straighten that up, obviously. You've got 2 helm seats. Really high quality stuff, a bolster as well, so you can lean in front of the helm. And look how clean that dash is, it's absolutely lovely. Carbon fibre weave. You have got proper buttons for things you're going to use regularly, but you've got obviously 2 MFDs, a smaller MFD over there. That's where a lot of your navigation information is going to be. And good access to the twin throttles and the IPS joystick. An IPS boat, IPS 650, twin 480 horsepower engines, optimised for a top speed of around 28 knots and to cruise at 22 knots. That is the absolute way. It's also got an optional bow thruster down there. But it's the ergonomics that are great. Everything falls to hand easily, the wheels are adjustable, you can stand and sit comfortably, and as the skipper I've got the joystick there. I'm so close to this side door that I can just pop my head out, look fore and aft, communicate with the crew, and even get out onto deck if I want to be part of the crewing party. They just execute this stuff really, really nicely. Let's head down to the lower deck accommodation, where we find 3 cabins. Let's start with the twin. So you can see the twin arrangement there, space between the beds to move through. Nice that you've got actual portholes in here so you can get some natural light. And also a good sized wardrobe as well, with hanging and drawer storage. Right forward, the VIP, they do these quite differently. As you can see, you've got an angled berth here, so you can walk around it, but it's not forced right into the bow, so to speak, as you see so often in these arrangements. And really big hull windows here, nice panes of glass, portholes are open. Again, you're not always relying on the air conditioning. Of course, in very warm climates, you're going to need the air conditioning, whatever. But if it's not so hot, being able to get natural air running through here will be really nice. Headroom's good, well over 6 feet. There's no hatch in the roof, but you've got an escape hatch if you need to get out in an emergency. And it is en suite to the day head. So pocket door here, Absolute are good at using these. This isn't a door that swings into these areas, so it doesn't gobble up space into that bulkhead. And you've got your toilet and sink and a separate shower cubicle, and this door is out into the lobby for use in the day, and also used for the twin, so they can cross the lobby and get to the bathroom. Another pocket door leading down amidships to the owner's cabin. On the port side is where you find the owner's ensuite. Again, another pocket door employed to maximise the space. This has space for its own separate cubicle as well for the shower. And then moving right amidships into the full beam owner's cabin. Loads of space down here above my head. There are some changes in the floor height. You've got to account for the shape of the hull, but even here, up the step, I can just about stand without having to stoop my head. Nice big bed central to this cabin, and then down the starboard side you've got a mix of storage and a bureau and some really good wardrobe space here opposite the bed. That's a really good size, and conveniently where you're going to get changed as well. It's close to where you'll be getting changed. A bit more storage down here. Yeah, it's really nicely put together, nice and bright down here. Again, you've got your hull windows and your opening ports, and even more storage dotted along the port side. Very nicely done. Right, let's head back through the interior and see if the Flybridge is free. Right, up we go. Now, because of the way this was transported to Düsseldorf Boat Show, it doesn't have a hardtop fitted. So keep in mind, this would normally come with a hardtop. Look at that Navetta 64 over there. A smaller version of that. So it does look very open. It actually looks quite cool. But this isn't how it would ordinarily look. But you can still appreciate the space. The open space back here to do with what you wish. The tender would live on the bathing platform. So this would be somewhere to put sun pads, bean bags. lounge around in the sun. Remember, you'll have a hardtop and a bimini shade, so you're not going to be as exposed up here as it looks like you are. Dedicated space down here for the life raft. Amidships you have your table. That's a fixed table, it doesn't even fold. They've kept it simple. Would be nice, I suppose, if that folded, to give you a bit more room around it if you're using it as a drinks table. And then opposite that, the wet bar. And I sound a bit of a bore, but just look at the mouldings. The absolute quality is really lovely, and it's much more than skin deep as well. But that's really nice how they've produced this mould, all really clean and smooth. Option to have a grill up here, that would go there if you had it. Chest cooler there, sink, and then the isotherm fridge underneath. High quality components as well. Moving forward further, you come to the helm station, and I like the fact that it is central. So as the skipper, you're right in the middle, and look at that wind deflector, so simple. You can see it's got grooves cut into it, so you can drop that down if you don't want to have the breeze, but that does a really good job of deflecting the breeze over your head if you're driving from up here, going along at the cruising speed of 22 knots. Simple helm arrangement, attractive, easy to use. Again, they've grouped the controls on this pod so they come nice and close to the skipper's hand, and you've got the single helm chair. Only a single, however, you have got these seats either side. So they're flanked by chairs that other passengers can use to come along for the ride, even if they can't sit directly next to the skipper. Again, simple execution, but done really well. And notice how on both sides, these chaise longues, they go flat, if you want to sit forward with your legs out, or you can put the backrests up, use them as chaise longues looking back into the Flybridge. Let's drop down, and we will go and check out the crew space before we go to the engine room. There's access up both sides. It's slightly narrower on the port side. You see that port walkway is slightly narrower, but you can still get up there easy enough. And I like how they've integrated the mooring gear. All looks part of this aft haunch, nice thick cleat, and you've got your deck shower as well, so you can have a quick shower when you come out the sea. As I mentioned, hydraulic bathing platform, so this is how you're going to launch and recover your tender. And something quite unique for a boat of this size is the size of the crew cabin as well. Not necessarily a boat that will run with crew, but if you're gonna, pardon me, if you're gonna have them on a 50-ish footer, it doesn't really get much better. And you don't have to have this, you could just have this decked out as storage. You could have it with just the bathroom, I say bathroom, the shower and toilet, or you can have the berth. And it's not a bad ad hoc cabin. You're not gonna be in here for a week, but for the odd night, for an extra guest, really not too bad. It is a wet room, as I said, there's no separate shower cubicle, but you've got a Tecmar toilet. Again, decent componentry, and you've got a shower up here as well. And this is another nice feature, a big boat feature, so to speak. Direct access from the crew space into the engine room through a watertight door. Right, in we go. I mean, that is so easy for a boat like this. And you notice the ladder there. That's so you can get down quickly from the cockpit if you're doing it in a hurry and you don't want to have to come down to the transom. So one engine option, D6 IPS 650, as I mentioned, 480 horsepower per side. It's a cruising boat this, it is not a performance boat, it's designed to do sub 30 knots really and cruise at 22, but very happy at that speed. IPS have been fitted to Absolute since the dawn of IPS time, so they know what they're doing, and the execution down here is really nice. You've got your stainless steel fuel tanks in front of me. Do remember, if you want to look around, you can just pull the screen and look from side to side. You can see your twin fuel filters, you can swap between them if one gets blocked. We've got the generator mounted right in the middle here, and then the IPS engines on either side, which are easy to inspect. You can see you've got your dipstick, raw water strainers, and then relatively good access to the pods as well. It's a bit dark down there, I'm afraid, but that's where the pods are. In terms of headroom, well, I'm having to stoop here. I can't stand up. If you had this hatch here open, there's a deck hatch above me, that's what leads up to the cockpit. You could stand there, but it's very much crouching room. But the installation is lovely, and the access is really good. Really impressive for a boat like this. Okay, heading aft. Let's get back out. Well, there you go. There's our 360 tour of the Absolute Navetta 53. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give the video a like if you did. And if you want more information, go to yachtbuyer.com where you can read the reviews, you can compare it to its rivals and do all your research there. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Jack Haines and this is Yachtbuyer 360.